Morning everyone. Okay, we've just been at a very comprehensive briefing at the Queensland Disaster Management Committee, and this cyclone is intensifying. At the moment, it's at Cyclone Debbie is at a Category 2 with winds around the high 100 kilometres an hour. It is going to increase to a Category 3 later today, where the winds will escalate. At the moment, it's 475 kilometres east of Ayr. So the region that we're looking at the moment to be impacted by these gale force winds is between Townsville and Mackay. However, the winds will be impacting first and foremost the Whitsunday Mackay region when the cyclone is getting closer to shore. The area that we're focusing in on, and I'll hand over to Bruce to give us a bit more of an update, is in relation to Ayr to St Lawrence over the next 24 hours. And at this stage, the cyclone is due to track overland early Tuesday morning. Given this, I have today made the decision that the schools from Ayr to Proserpine will be closed tomorrow. This is a safety precaution as the winds are going to be escalating. We will be monitoring this situation later on today as well, and there may be further school closures. With the force of these winds, I do expect further school closures later on during the week, but we'll be putting up a full list of schools later on this afternoon because I want to give parents as much notice as possible. As I said yesterday, preparations are underway, but today we want people to be prepared. Make sure you do your last minute preparations. This cyclone will have a big impact, and Bruce will talk to you about that very shortly. We have over 1,000 personnel that have already been pre-deployed or on standby. And firstly, I want to thank the people across North Queensland for making their preparations, and I urge them to finalise preparations today. And if you are already prepared, please go and check on your neighbours, because we do know that there are a lot of elderly people living in this region. There's also people with disabilities, so if you know someone, make sure you are doing that. We're also in contact with the mayors. The mayors will be patched in to the Queensland Disaster Management Committee system meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I will be contacting the mayors personally following this. I've already had a conversation with Mayor Jenny Hill, but I'll be speaking with Lynn McLaughlin and Andrew Wilcox later on today. All of the charter boats in the Whitsunday region have been secured. The ports have been closed. We have people sheltering in place on a number of islands. There are some remote islands that we are paying particular attention to. We have Guthalungra, which is 60 kilometres. These are some of these remote communities that are considered isolated. There are approximately 50 persons residing there. There are no shelters. We are making contact with them. And Gumlu, located just north, has less than 100 persons there, and there are no shelters there, and the Elliott River huts. So we are focused on some of these small communities that don't have any access to shelter, and we will be advising them to move. As I said, the Queensland State Disaster Committee is prepared. We're working very closely with the councils. The other issue I might touch on is we had extensive discussions today about the impact of tidal surge. We are modelling scenarios there. We are in contact with the local disaster management groups. Basically, once this cyclone hits, if there is a huge tidal surge, we will need people to evacuate before that. We want people to be safe. That is our number one issue. So with those few words, I might just also add that in relation to energy, we have over 800 power workers ready in the region. We've sent 75 further energy workers from southeast today up to the region, and another 130 will be going tomorrow. In relation to health, everything is on track there. We've been speaking to the hospitals. I've discussed education, and we've also been in contact with Telstra and they are ready to talk to anyone if there's any issues there. I might hand over to Bruce, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. Bruce.
Thanks, Premier. As the Premier said, Debbie's a Category 2 system and on track to cross the coast somewhere near Ayr as a Category 4 system on Tuesday morning. Queensland hasn't seen a coastal crossing for a couple of years now, since Marsha or Nathan in 2015. But I think you could say that Debbie's probably the most significant tropical cyclone since Yasi that we've had to deal with in Queensland, not so much because of its intensity. We're only predicting a Category 4 at landfall, but mostly because of its size and extent. It's quite a sizable system. So I did want to repeat the plea for people to do their preparations today. Please don't leave it till tomorrow if you can avoid it, because tomorrow may indeed be too late. The winds in a Category 4 system are in excess of 225 kilometres an hour, and that's, as I said yesterday, winds that cause lots of structural damage. Mobile homes, caravans can be destroyed, boats shifted from their moorings, etc. But having said that, Bowen and Townsville themselves are predicted to get Category 3 intensity winds. So that's winds in excess of 165. While they're not probably going to get the core of the cyclone go over the top, that's still a very, very serious situation for the city of Townsville. In terms of wind, people can usually successfully shelter from wind, but it's not possible to shelter from storm surge. If you're in a low-lying area, you've got to be prepared to evacuate if directed by authorities. So please stay tuned to the Bureau warnings. They're available on our website, through our app, on Twitter, and on ABC Radio. So please prepare now, and things should be okay.
Steve, State Disaster Coordinator.
Thank you, Premier. The focus for today is to make sure that everyone is safe and that everyone is planning ahead about what they need to do to prepare for the effects of this severe weather event. As you've heard, the crossing may well be around the Ayr area, but people will need to remember that for such a large system that the impact will be much broader than that. And just because they might be some way away from that area, that doesn't mean you will not be impacted. So people need to be aware of what will be happening in their area. It is important that everyone knows that today is the day to finalise your preparations. Tomorrow will be too late, so the decisions need to be made today. To do that, you need to stay connected and listen to the advice that will be coming out in your local areas. We are particularly focused on ensuring that people in remote and isolated communities are being spoken to and provided with up-to-date information and all necessary assistance to evacuate or resupply as necessary. For people in remote communities, you should be thinking about moving now. Roads will begin to close as heavy rain impacts, and along the coast, as we've heard, we will get storm surge in some areas, and it will be too late eventually to be able to move. We want to make sure that everyone is connected, as I've said, and the most up-to-date information is available out there as we speak. There are many ways to do this. The Queensland Police Service is constantly updating its information on its Facebook page, Twitter account and My Police blogs. You can visit that page by visiting www.facebook.com/Queensland Police or simply searching for Queensland Police Service on Facebook. On Twitter, the handle is @QPS Media or mypolice.queensland.gov.au. As we've heard, the Bureau of Meteorology is issuing cyclone warnings every 3 hours. That will increase as we get closer. You can find them online at www.bom.gov.au, or you can download the free app available on the App Store. For those that are thinking about travelling on roads, and can I caution everyone not to travel once the heavy weather starts unless it's absolutely necessary, and eventually there will be the point will come when you should not be out. Please make sure that you're planning ahead. The Department of Transport and Main Roads has an extensive list of road closures at the Queensland Traffic website at www.queenslandtraffic.queensland.gov.au, and it includes an interactive map. You could also download the new Queensland Traffic smartphone app for those that have that sort of capability. ABC Radio is your local emergency broadcaster in Queensland, and please stay connected to that where you can. For people in Cairns and the far north Queensland, tune to 106.7 FM. For people in Townsville and North Queensland, should tune to 6:30 AM. People in Mackay and Central Queenslanders should tune to 101.1 FM. All the local district and local area management groups and coordination groups are well advanced in their planning. People should take comfort of the fact that all the agencies are working very hard together to make sure that the community is kept safe and kept informed as it needs to be. Our request for you is to listen to the advice that comes from authorities and make sure that you follow that advice with plenty of time before this event starts. Thank you, Premier.
Thank you. Commissioner Carroll.
Thank you, Premier. The public can be well assured that all the agencies are well prepared and have pre-deployed substantial staff into those affected areas. There are fire and rescue staff, SES, emergency coordinators, police, as well as other emergency services. So please be very, very confident that we will be ready to respond immediately. We need the assistance, obviously, of the public to not be complacent. We know this part of the world is quite experienced in cyclones, but please do not be complacent. You have a small window of opportunity that has been repeated a number of times to act on your emergency plans later today. Please check in with your neighbour, and once the weather sets in, try and keep off those roads. Some of our biggest work, obviously response, is rescuing people in dangerous waters. So if it's flooded, please forget it, because not only do you put yourself in harm's way, but also that emergency services workers that are out there to help you. So please obviously assist us as we go about our business, but have every confidence that planning and preparation is well in hand and that we have pre-deployed that substantial amount of staff to assist you in that response time. Thank you.
Thanks, Katarina. Any questions for Bruce, myself, or anyone?
The Whitsunday Islands, is that people who are there on holidays, are they just staying put at the moment?
Yes, we had a full briefing in relation to that today. Most of the islands where there are guests staying do have structures in place that are rated up to Category 4. So some people are choosing to remain with the staff. Those who are choosing to leave, we are actually enabling that to happen as well. So we've gone through all of the islands in the Whitsunday. We're very comfortable where everything is at, and we're in constant contact with those islands.
And the airports, is there any plans for them to close at this stage?
We're getting further advice about airports this afternoon.
And Abbott Point, is there any preparations happening there?
Absolutely. So the ports have been closed, and they have put in place the necessary arrangements around those ports, and we are confident that the work has been done.
Where are you expecting flooding?
It's going to depend. I might get Bruce to elaborate. It's going to actually depend where the cyclone crosses and the time that it crosses as to whether or not there will be a tidal surge. We are doing modelling at the moment. We are conveying that modelling to the local disaster management committee, so they are aware. And as the state disaster coordinator said, if people do need to move, they will be told, and they must move.
Are you doing, is there any plans in place for the tailings dam at Queensland Nickel in terms of flooding?
We had advice today in relation to that as well. The Environment Minister updated the QDMC, and all the preparations that are needed there are in place.
And sorry, going on dams, Vertican Dam, I think last week was pretty much nearing capacity. How's it looking at the moment, and what's the strategy in place for the dam there?
Yes, Minister Bailey is monitoring that as well, and as we know that Townsville is actually looking for some extra water, so there's some good news on that front, but at the moment our dams are okay, and we're comfortable where that's at.
And just with the supplies and everything, I know that obviously supplies up there have been, we've seen supermarkets and fuel cleared out, things like that. I think with the rain last week, some of the trucks couldn't get through. Are you going to be doing food drops, or how's the supplies going to be getting through?
Yep, okay, so we also had the Australian Defence Force that also was in our meeting today as well. So We actually have people that have been deployed to different areas. We are making sure that there is fuel ready at the service stations. We know that this was an issue last time, that people ran out of fuel, and we're making sure through the State Disaster Coordinator that there are the necessary supplies. Did you want to add anything, Steve?
No, Premier, the resupply is well in advance
Yep.
and it's well planned.
Okay. The further thing I might add is that I've also made the decision to postpone Cabinet tomorrow. We will be meeting twice out here for the Queensland Disaster Management Committee. I want all ministers, I want all agencies 100% focused on this cyclone. We'll have more information tomorrow morning as to where we expect the cyclone to actually cross. I need a 100% focus on this, and Cabinet will be rescheduled till later in the week. Okay, thanks everyone.